Hey gang, JC here, and this is the Daily Dose for Monday, June 7th, 2010, a cooperative venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. I've been off the air for about 7 months now. They continue to pay me to do nothing. The radio station has been paying me for 7 months. They have until next March to keep the paychecks rolling. If it makes sense to you, you let me know, because it doesn't make sense to anybody I talk to. All right, now if you look right here on the screen, you can see you can subscribe now to the Daily Dose on iTunes. We're going to be having lots of other cool stuff, podcasts and tapes of old radio shows and segments and things like that. But right there is where you subscribe on iTunes. We're adding new stuff all the time. And of course, archives at the top of the page. Just hit that menu bar. You get all sorts of cool stuff. I want to say thanks to everybody out there at Lindenwood Park over the weekend. The annual Chris Rehor baseball, softball tournament. And everybody was there, including Bob Ramsey from 101 and DeMarco Farr. You know, they start the introductions, these big long introductions for everybody. As soon as the crowd realized they were introducing DeMarco Farr, they just went nuts. There may be no more popular athlete in St. Louis right now who's still, under the age of 50, maybe more so than DeMarco Farr. Great playing with him. He played right field, and he got an owie on his leg, by the way. Kevin Wheeler from KMOX. Angela Huddy, how delightful she is, from Fox 2's Weather Department. Danny Epted, equally delightful, owner of the St. Louis Aces. Congressman Russ Carnahan shows up and plays right field for the celebrity team. It was fantastic. Raised a lot of money. Hats off to Andy Banker from Fox 2 and also Brian McKenna from KFNS for putting that thing together, and we'll see you next year. Let's get to the news. Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer, getting a divorce from his wife after 16 years. They got a couple of kids. Apparently his wife wouldn't let him do it doggy style. Weirdest story of the month and perhaps the year, and maybe all time, I don't know. But Rush Limbaugh gets remarried over the weekend, and playing at the reception, Elton John, of all people. Supposedly they paid him $1 million to show up. Apparently Elton will do anything for money these days. The bride, by the way, wore white, and that was to match the sheet that Rush was wearing. Liza Minnelli at Powell Hall over the weekend apparently stunk the place up. They said she was stumbling around on stage confused and looked lost. It was off key, and the whole thing was just as a disaster. Diana Ross last night here in town. The best story I have about Diana Ross is actually a joke by Carol Leifer, very funny comedian and writer who was the inspiration for the Elaine Bennis character on Seinfeld. And I had her on the show many times. She just came out as a lesbian a couple of years ago. She was married to a comedian by the name of Rich Scheidner, a Canyon Man. You may remember that from way back in the day. Anyhow, Carol Leifer said she went to a Diana Ross concert, and Diana Ross is up on stage going, "Reach out and touch, everybody sing, somebody's hand, everybody sing." And Carol Leifer said, "Diana Ross, $300 a ticket, you sing, okay? You sing." And that's how I feel about it, too. Miley Cyrus did a lesbian kiss over the weekend that looked very, very orchestrated. Of course, she's got a big, long line of stripper poles and slutty outfits, and she's only 17 years old. She's been doing this stuff since she's 15. Her parents, of course, the hillbilly, Mr. Achy Breaky Heart Man, Billy Ray Cyrus. I saw about 2 weeks ago a picture of Miley Cyrus where she was wearing no makeup, and she's a baby. And we saw this with Britney Spears, too, where you get this over-sexualization of kids who are, 14, 15, 16 years old, and then they wonder why these kids have trouble when they, hit about 21 or 22 and just go over the wall and start not being able to discriminate between what is show and what is real. And again, I like to see naked young girls as much as anybody, and girls climbing stripper poles and doing slutty things, but I don't want to see something that was sprung from the loins of Billy Ray Cyrus doing anything. The Pew Research Center, which has been churning out results on polls and things like that for years, very reputable organization, has done a story about pot. And according to the survey, 48% of men and 31% of women say they have tried the evil weed. This part surprised me. The highest usage was among whites. Now that busts up a stereotype, huh? 73% of Americans right now feel that it's okay for marijuana to be legal for medicinal purposes, and 41% of Americans think that all pot, regardless of the circumstances, should be legal, and that's up from 35% just 2 years ago, so it's up 6 points in 2 years. Album sales have crashed and burned. Album sales, and when we're talking about albums, we're talking about CDs, obviously, have dropped to a historic low. Last month, they only sold 5 million albums total. Meanwhile, while they sold 5 million albums, 21.7 million individual tracks were uploaded, downloaded, passed around, whatever the case may be. All right, so we've been trying to get through this story for a couple of days now. We finally have a little time, and this is 10 sexual fantasies that can go horribly wrong in real life. I've been saying this for years. If you have an opportunity to meet your all-time favorite porn star, for example, pass, okay? I can guarantee you it will be a letdown. And even a lot of the girls in Playboy are going to be letdowns. And of course now, you know, I'm not 30 years old anymore, and these girls are like, you know, 19 years old posing in Playboy. It's just that there's just something wrong there. I feel dirty for even looking at it. So I haven't even looked at a Playboy in a couple of years. Anyhow, here's 10 sexual fantasies that can go horribly wrong in real life. Number 1, sex in public, because you can get caught and you can get arrested. I had a friend of a friend who was doing it in the stairwell of the Adams Mark Hotel back about 20 years ago, and they must have had a security camera she didn't know about, and she got taken away, and she had to sign a thing with her name on it and everything. They took her picture, and she said she would never enter that hotel again, so you can get caught. Number 2, oral favors while driving. Well, did anybody see the world according to GARP? A lot of things can go wrong, including bumps in the road and involuntary muscle responses. I know it sounds fascinating, but come on. Number 3, doing it on train tracks or in the middle of the road. This is supposed to be a big turn on. It's dangerous. Number 4, sex in the office. Even if you don't get caught, you get a reputation as the office slut, unless, of course, you already have that reputation, in which case, go for it. Go nuts. Trying to convert a person who's gay. This thought has crossed my mind many times. I know a couple of extremely attractive lesbians, and you think to yourself, maybe you just haven't had the right. Number 6, rape fantasy. Yeah, that stuff goes wrong all the time, and people get killed by accident. Sex on the beach. Sand. Okay? Sand. Everywhere. In every crevice, in every you-know-what. This is a real bad idea. And number 8, sex with a gun or a knife involved. Again, things go horribly wrong and people die. Number 9, having a threesome. Yeah, I'm sorry, I have to abstain from that one. And number 10, sex with a model. Well, you get into bed with a model and she's so good looking, and you're probably not that good looking if you're a guy, or I'm sure it even works the other way with women. And, you know, you start feeling inadequate and things start to go wrong, and it turns out to be a very unsatisfying experience. All right, tomorrow we'll get to this 10 signs you're out of touch with technology. I've been promising you that now for a couple of days. All right, it was on this date in 1975 that the Betamax by Sony was introduced. $995 for the Sony Betamax, which of course was beaten out and lost the war to the VHS machine and of course the DVR. But what a huge thing it was for the porn industry. Birthdays today, Anna Kournikova is 29. She recently retired from tennis where she stunk and has now taken up to just basically standing around looking hot, which she's actually pretty good at. All right, today's Monday, so we've got new stuff for you on the Video Village. And on the Video Village, going back to the late 80s, you can remember a time when radio stations actually had money to have fun and do stuff. And we gave away a couple of 100 trips to Hawaii on KSD back then. We have the TV commercial that went with it. The Wayback Machine, May 2nd, 1997, St. Louis night for the audience at the Late Show with David Letterman, where all 500 people in the audience were from St. Louis, and we have the monologue, which is really funny. And on JC's Eye Candy today, one last shot at Gary Coleman. Not necessarily the news today involves Governor Nixon. Tomorrow, Celebrity Tuesday, we'll do Don Henley. In the meantime, that's it. That's your Daily Dose for Monday, June 7th, 2010. A cooperative venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. And in the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.